What is up, y'all? Snipes-n-Snarfblatts, your unauthorized place for Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm. As usual, I'm your host, Jason, and we're going to talk about all the things entertainment related under that good Disney empire we all love. But you know what? Honestly, it has felt like a decade has went by in the week since I saw y'all, because so many things have happened. If you've paid attention to the site at all, you've seen a lot of them, but we're going to roll right into them today because we might go a little over time if I just keep on rambling as usual. So here we go. Mouse and the Desk Lamp. And what do we do in the Mouse and the Desk Lamp? Well, you already know. We talk about everything Disney and Pixar related, and man, was there a lot. First, we're going to get into something from the Pixar side, a little something called SparkShorts. If you don't know what that is, we mentioned it a while back. SparkShorts is basically Pixar's attempt to see what they can do in the absence of John Lasseter. And they're letting everybody submit some shorts that with a limited budget, and they're going to see what they can make out of these. So the first two have come out, and the first one was Pearl. And Pearl, y'all, I was really let down by this short in more ways than one. And it's mainly because it was very heavy-handed material, and that's usually the thing for Pixar. This one dealt with women equality in the workplace, which anyone that knows me knows I am all for. At one point, all I hired was women. And that said, this, I don't know, there was an innocence lost upon this short in more ways than one. I've always been proud of Pixar because they can take some of the most adult-oriented behavior and just completely camouflage it over entertaining family fun. Like, I mean, if you see all their movies, they've dealt with things like death and growing old and where do you stand and growing up, and they've dealt with all this stuff with kid gloves, to say it the easy way. With kid gloves, they do it to where children can watch it, adults can watch it. We'll all take our own different things out of it, but everyone enjoys it. And with Pearl, I didn't really find myself enjoying this short at all, and I think that's what bothered me the most was the entertainment factor. But I mean, basically, it felt almost like a propaganda film, because I mean, there was nothing really to it other than this heavy-handed, in-your-face material, and all they did was just take out the subject matter of one piece and replace it with a cuddly little ball of yarn. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, the cartoon, it even went as far as to contain an adult joke, or a somewhat adult joke, you know what I'm saying? And then the last thing I wanted to do was to hear my little daughter jump up yelling, "You bet your ass!" like the cute little character in the cartoon does. And it just bothered me that I couldn't enjoy this with my family. Like I said, I didn't say this, but I said it on the line, and I'm glad I watched this alone and not with my family first, because my little girl don't need to see this. It's like I said, it's propaganda at best. And only because of the way it was done, not because of how it was done, or what it entailed, I guess, is what I mean to say, but how it went about doing it, because there was no attempt at all to camouflage this. It was all just, bam, in your face, this is it, read it how it is, because this is what we're showing you, and this is our message. And it just, I don't know, it lost something with me. It did not feel like it deserved the name Pixar, and it definitely didn't feel like it needed to go up beside some of the great Pixar shorts that have dealt with many things. Now, in contrast, the next one came out about a week later, and it was called Smash and Grab. Apparently, this is the one that started the whole idea of SparkShorts in the first place. And y'all, this was great. This was absolutely great. This was Pixar quality at its finest. And I don't mean just in the animation, but I mean in the storytelling. This was Pixar storytelling at its finest. From a kid's point of view, if a kid was to watch this cartoon, it would just be about two robots tethered to doing stuff, and they just want to get away and give each other a high five and get away together and have a life together. And you know what? That's all they'll really see. But if you delve into the psychology underneath it, you all of a sudden get this tale that displays people being tethered to their own jobs in life, and how if you cut that tether, you'll wind up dying because you can't eat, you won't have any energy, you won't this. Like, those menial jobs subside us and they get us through. And that's what I think I loved the most about this, is its parallels to real life without really hammering it down, because while they're tethered to this, one of the robots sees the higher echelon that they work for and the freedom that they get because they are basically in a higher place than them, and they're just working for these people in a higher place. And the only way they're ever going to get it is to sever the tether and take that chance, and they take that chance, and it risks life and limb, literally, and the threat of just dying out because you're not hooked to your source of power anymore, which would be your regular jobs, getting to that higher echelon. Now, I mean, yes, that's a lot to draw out of a quick under 5-minute animated short, but it's all there, and it's all done so beautifully because it keeps it in a family-friendly, non-preachy type of way, yet it tells this great story that resonates with everybody on a different level. And I love the beauty of that. That's what Pixar is to me. Pixar is something that can tell a story that is just way beyond where it should be, and it resonates on everyone from a level of child all the way up to adult in its subject matter. But it does it under a camouflage of not being too preachy and still being entertaining. I was entertained by this short, and that's why Smash and Grab is so much better than Pearl, mainly because of its entertainment value versus its message. And then its message comes along while you're being entertained, instead of just feeling like they're really hitting you over the head with this message. I mean, they could have done this a whole nother way. It could have been, and it would have been dark, just like Pearl felt dark, but they didn't. It was very entertaining and very lighthearted, and Smash and Grab, I would totally not object even to see this as one of the next shorts in front of a Pixar movie, just so it gets a wider, broad span than just the people that happen to follow it on YouTube, because the message here is amazing, and I thought this thing was really, really good. It was very uplifting, like I said, and if you haven't seen it, go on YouTube, go on my site, go somewhere and watch this short. It is a very, very great short. And like I said, I think it will resonate with a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And that's the real beauty of Pixar. But moving past that, everything else that happened in the Disney Pixar entertainment realm this week all happened in the form of trailers, and we got some really big trailers this week. So I'm going to delve into them in the order that they came out. So we're going to start with the latest Dumbo trailer. We got a special look at Dumbo, and you know what? I loved this. I really did love this. I mean, as a trailer or commercial for a movie goes, it did what it's supposed to do, but it did it in a way where they finally give you some insight on how they're melding what you know about Dumbo versus this brand new story I keep talking about that they're trying to weave in there. Because like I keep saying, Dumbo at its essence of the cartoon, there's really not much to it. I mean, you could almost sum up Dumbo in a 30-second synopsis and literally, besides the songs, give everybody everything they need to know the full story of Dumbo. Dumbo loses mom. Dumbo is ridiculed because of his ears. Dumbo learns how to fly when he gets a feather. Dumbo finally flies, impresses everybody, and now he's the main show of the circus. End of Dumbo. That's it. I just summed up Dumbo in probably less than 30 seconds. This shows how they're really going to weave into this and make it an actual full-length film. And you get little hints of almost every character. The first thing I took out of this was Michael Keaton's character. I love the way it looks like they're treating Michael Keaton's character. Because if you watch some of the things he said in this trailer, he really looks like, instead of your average villain, he's going to come off as more of a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of con artist type of villain who's really greedy and villainous when it comes down to it. But in order to get what he wants, he appeals to everything everyone wants to hear. And that's what I'm getting out of this, at least. And it is a short look, but I mean, that's kind of what I took out of his mannerisms. And if anyone's good for this, it's Keaton. Because Keaton showed you the hero. Keaton showed you his early years when he was a great comedic place in movies with Dream Team and Mr. Mom. And then Keaton showed you his villain with Vulture. And I think he's going to take all three faces of himself and kind of just throw them all together for this movie and become, like I said, a wolf in sheep's clothing, just ultimate villain. One of the villains who, Benzi's going to be so nice about it, and he's going to be so conniving about it. You're just going to love to hate him that much more. And I don't know how I got this out of that little bitty part, but I feel it for some reason. That's the direction we're going. Same with Danny DeVito. Oh my, Danny DeVito, like, ever since Twins, ever since anything you've ever seen Danny DeVito in, he's basically the down on his luck guy, and he does it so good. And I mean, it's it's messed up that seems to be just Danny DeVito's role, is this down on his luck guy, but he's just so good at it, and he resonates it so well, and it's so appealing that he was the perfect pick for this down on his luck circus ringmaster, because I mean, you could tell even by the previews that he's just made for this role. Like, every scene I see him in, he just chewed that scene up, and like, you just knew that this was his place, and he looked like he belonged there. That's when you know you're doing something right, is when you've casted someone who, even though they're a Danny DeVito level of actor, they still look like they just blend right into the role you've casted them in. And I totally 100% in these looks that we've seen in this trailer believe that he was the down on his luck ringmaster of this thing. And I loved that. And then you get a couple glimpses of the kids and Colin Farrell and stuff. And I think where Danny DeVito and Keaton are going to set up the emotional story that's going on, I think all the emotional content you're going to get from the characters really is going to reside in Colin Farrell and these kids. I think they're the ones that are real. I guarantee you there's going to be some... bring your tissues. There's going to be some tears shed in this movie. This is going to be every bit like a lot of these remakes have been, and you're going to see some folks bawling when they come out this movie. I just feel it, and I think a lot of that is going to fall on Colin Farrell and these kids. They look like they're going to be the big emotional draw to this, and they're just really going to tie everything together, and it just... everything I saw in this trailer looks like they're weaving together your classic Dumbo and this new Tim Burton story that has been created for Dumbo. They're just going to weave them together in a perfect amalgam of story. And it heightened my want to see Dumbo that much more. And, I mean... wow, like I said, I came out of this giddy. I swear I felt I got emotional during this trailer, just because I now know why it was on my top 10 list earlier, because I want to see this really bad. I'm very curious about this. Like I said, Tim Burton as a director, he's more hit than miss with me, especially in his live action stuff, and I cannot wait to see this movie. Now, where this trailer got me even more excited for a movie, this next trailer has me so trepidatious, I don't even know what to think about this movie anymore, because at one hand, I found a lot more pluses than most people on the internet, but on the other hand, I have a feeling we're all going to address the elephant in this room as well, and I'm talking about Aladdin. Aladdin. When I first got through this trailer, this was my levels as I was going in. Man, everything looks great. Oh my God, these colors at this scene are beautiful. Wow, Agrabah looks amazing. Whoever imagined this is on point. Wow, Jasmine is gorgeous. She really was probably the perfect pick to play Princess Jasmine. You know, we haven't heard him talk yet, and his mannerisms are there. This guy really does seem like he could be the street rat Aladdin. Ooh, Jafar. Alright, this is where it started to move a little backwards for me. Jafar, if y'all have seen that meme of the "this looks like the boss you would fight" when you're going at the counter at a department store to spray cologne on you, that's what Jafar looks like to me in this movie. He looks like the guy that works at the department store that's going to come spray cologne on me and try to sell me cologne. I did not get the intimidating evil sorcerer that he was in the original. And now, granted, we didn't see that much of him. It was only a couple lines. But, I mean, Jafar was just a presence from the time he was in the animated feature to the time he left the animated feature. He was a dark presence. And I didn't really get that off this guy. I'm hoping as we get into the movie, I'm going to get it a little more. But as of right now, I am not as intimidated by this guy as I was intimidated by his animated predecessor. And that's definitely not really a good thing. I mean, this guy should have came off as just one of the scariest people in the world. Because, I mean, Jafar he's one of the top tier Disney villains for me when it comes down to it. So I was a little let down in Jafar, but not that let down. Like I said, I'll give him a chance. I want to see more of him before I really make up my mind. So then I saw the carpet, and I saw the monkey, and I'm like, oh, wow, look, carpet, give me some tassel. So I'm like, yeah, cool, carpet's here. This is going to be awesome. This looks great. And then I heard Will Smith talk. And you know what? I'm not going to knock Will Smith and his ability to play this role just based on him and his voice, because honestly, that didn't pull me out of the trailer that much. That did not pull me out of the trailer at all, actually. When I heard him talking, I was like, okay, you know what? We might be able to do this. And then he turned around. And when he turned around, all I could think was, whoa! Whoa, that's the Fresh Prince of Agrabah right there. And I've never been brought out of a trailer so much in my life as I was when Will Smith turned around and that genie looked like Will Smith. But now, in Will Smith's defense and in these movie makers' defense, I've thought about this for a while, and I've talked about this for a couple days with some people. And all I can keep thinking is, I cannot think of a major actor that they could have put there that wouldn't have brought me out of the genie's persona. And I mean, I guess it comes down to the fact that the genie didn't look like Robin Williams. I'm really starting to lean towards maybe they should have went more CGI with this genie and just gave us a character that someone voiced and maybe even mocapped, but a real character that didn't look like anyone we know that we could just call the genie. I think that would have helped this a whole lot more. Yeah, it's in retrospect, so we can't do anything about it now. But just that right there brought me really far out of this trailer. And I'm hoping that throughout the course of the movie, I'll be able to accept and get used to the fact that he's the genie. And I mean, hell, if he gives a great performance, you know what? He might just pull us out. And it is Will Smith. He is a great actor when he wants to be. So there is a chance. But in all honesty, I lost a little faith in Aladdin at that point. Like I said, love the pick for Aladdin. Love the pick for Jasmine. Don't really like Jafar, but I will give him a chance. Genie, however, it's going to be hard to get past. Because, I mean, man, I've never been pulled out of anything like that pulled me out. So I'm a little shell-shocked still when it comes to Genie. And honestly, if I was to rewrite my top 10 after seeing that trailer, I am not sure Aladdin, as much as I love it, would have made it on my top 10. But that being said, if I was to rewrite that top 10 that I did in the beginning of the year, after seeing what I saw in Frozen 2's trailer that just came out, wow. Y'all, I'm talking, this might have been in my top 5. I would have never, ever dreamed that I would be sitting in front of you and saying that I am just over the top excited for Frozen 2 until I saw this teaser that just came out. This teaser was just epic. I mean, I don't like throwing around that word epic, but this was epic. I was not expecting this. This was so out of left field, it's not even funny. Look, I didn't even really care for Frozen at first when I watched it. It's grown on me, and I've grown to really, really like the movie a lot more. But this this looks like something altogether different. This is an action adventure film. Like what they just showed in that teaser, that's an action adventure film. I mean, from the her trying to run up the waves, from her dodging all the fire ring in the middle, and Kristoff was Sven, but 50 other reindeer following him in this like just stampede of reindeer, and then you've got Anna in the end pulling the sword as it goes black with that fast sword pull. Like, where did that even come from? I didn't even know Anna could move like that. The jump of faith that she was gonna... Y'all, this thing looks awesome. I don't know where this came from, because if you were to tell me after watching Frozen 50 times that the trailer for the next Frozen would look like one of the most bomb action adventure movies that animation has gave us in a while, I would have said you're out of your mind. You mean the little musical where the sisters and that one, like that with the little with the funny little snowman? But this was insane. I am uberly excited for Frozen 2 all of a sudden, and that just, the more I say it, it still doesn't make sense to me at all. But I am loving what I saw in this movie, and I cannot wait for Frozen 2. This looks amazing. And like I said, if I could rewrite my top 10, this thing might even be somewhere in the top 5, because super pumped. Animation looks beautiful. And the action-adventure just blew my mind. Like, I was not expecting a full genre change in this movie when it came out. But I guess I should have been, because, I mean, where was it going to go from there? No one knew. You had to kind of toss in something new. But this is crazy. Like, I was not expecting this. And Frozen 2, I'm there. Take my money, Disney. Give me a seat already somewhere at the AMC. And I'm seeing this one at Dolby for sure, because this thing looks epic. So Frozen 2 is definitely on my map. But that is all for the Mouse and the Desk Lamp this time around. So I've got one more category out of the usual 4 this time. We're going to roll right into what? The 9 Realms. And the 9 Realms is where we talk about all things that happened in Marvel news. And the first one is a little close to me. I don't really know how to take this. I'm somewhat relieved. I'm somewhat offended. I'm somewhat like I'm all over the place on this one right here. And it is the fact that Chris Pratt has went forth and told everybody that for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we will be using James Gunn's script. So anyone who don't know this synopsis, James Gunn, he basically got let go for things he said damn near 10 years ago. And I don't think that's right. I don't think after hiring on the dotted line, someone should be fired for something they did 10 years ago and have grown so much past that they didn't even consider it a thing anymore, because that's not them anymore. Now, granted, this was some bad stuff. I mean, there was some pedophilia jokes and stuff. It was really shady material. Like, it was horrible jokes. But nonetheless, 10 years ago, a person grows a lot. You can only answer so much for stuff that happened then. And like he said, he's grown a lot in that time, and he had grown past it. Now, using his script, however, that's just... Like I said, I'm all over the place with this. I want James Gunn's script to be used. I want James Gunn to direct it, though. Like, I don't think anyone else should be able to hold this except James Gunn, especially if you're going to say his script's good enough, but he's not. That's not right. I mean, you've got directors turning this down left and right. Taika Waititi, the guy that did Thor Ragnarok, if I got his name right, he turned it down. Russo brothers, they turned it down, and everyone's turning it down on the basis of this is James Gunn's baby, and no one wants to touch it. And I believe that. I think that's the right thing to do, in all honesty, because this is James Gunn's baby. He created this. No one knew who Guardians of the Galaxy even was when Guardians of the Galaxy come up, and it has moved to the echelon, to the top of a highly competitive list of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. And to kick him off and then say you're going to use his script is just, I mean, that's a double slap to the face right there. But at the same time, I get it. You want to appease the actors. You want to appease the fans. You want to go with this material. But really, when it comes down to it, who can handle it? He wrote this. This is his thing. His soundtracks are impeccable. His understanding of these characters are impeccable. I feel sorry for the person who steps up and directs this, because honestly, they're really going to have to rely on the actors' input on where their characters should go from here, because that, and I mean, say you're going to use your script, but not use your director, even though the director and the script was hand in hand. We saw Justice League and what happened to it. We're going to get there's a danger of getting two conflicting styles all of a sudden jammed together that's just going to throw this thing off into a whirlwind of mismatched craziness. And I really don't want to see that. I want to see Volume 3 done right and at least cap this off as great as it should be. Because I loved these movies, y'all. I loved the first one. I think the second one was right up there with it. Maybe a notch under it. But honestly, I've watched it so much now that in my eyes, I think they're just both neck and neck for how great they were. And I would love to see the third one continue that greatness, because that's what this story deserves. So, I mean, like I said, I'm really conflicted about this. I want to see that script used so bad, but at the same time, it's got to get handled right. And in my eyes, only James Gunn can do that. So we'll have to see where this goes from here. Like I said, I mean, who knows? Fingers crossed. I want it to be as great as all the others. And I'm hoping a director comes in that can really see this through James Gunn's eyes. And that's just a tall order, because he's one hell of a visionary director. So, and like I said, hurts a little bit, but we've got to deal with it. At least we're getting his script. I guess that's one way to look at it. I try to find the silver lining, and the silver lining is the same man that wrote The Ones You Love is the same man that wrote these. So, that's a little silver lining. Next from the Marvel Universe, and this is the last thing we're going to cover today before we go off. This one's pretty long, though. I got a lot of notes to keep myself up with it. Hulu has announced 4 adult animated shows. And you know, Disney has controlling interest in Hulu ever since the Fox deal, so this makes sense. But 4 adult animated shows, starting with, and this is the number 1 on my list, so this is probably the one I'm going to talk about the most, Howard the Duck. Look, y'all, I know it's a horrible movie, but when I grew up, I was a kid when Howard the Duck came out, and I loved it. I thought it was one of the greatest things ever made. I walked around singing the theme songs. I loved that movie. And to know that it is now in the hands and being written and executive produced by the one and only Kevin Smith and Dave Willis, I'm giddy right now. I love Kevin Smith. I loved everything Kevin Smith has ever done. And him being in charge of Howard the Duck makes my year. I can't wait for this. Hulu just got my subscription to keep going, because I gotta see these. I mean, I've totally gotta see these. Love me some Howard the Duck. Love me some Kevin Smith. Now, the other 3, I'm not jumping up and down about like I am those, but Howard the Duck itself, like, you could have just announced this and I'd be this excited, because wow. So it's trapped in a world he never made. Him and his gal pal Beverly will fight the evil Dr. Bong, and yeah, that's just, God, that's synopsis gold, isn't it? Like, these 4 things they've named are set up to be so ridiculous and so over the top that I have a feeling these are going to be some of the best animated things we've got in a long time. Probably the best animated things ever put on Hulu. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, there's 3 more coming behind it. You got MODOK. That's the mental organism designed only for killing. Jordan Bloom and Patton Oswalt will be the executive directors and writers for MODOK. If you know nothing about MODOK, MODOK is this big giant head, little bitty arms and little legs. He floats in this chair thing. brilliant genius. He's got a gang of henchmen he's going to be looking over, as well as his dysfunctional family. So, I mean, that's pretty much MODOK in a nutshell. I've never been the biggest MODOK fan. In fact, I could go as far to say I don't even like when MODOK appears in my comics. But he is there, he is a thing, and honestly, he's such a silly character that I think they could really have fun with this. And speaking of really having fun with things, this one's completely off my radar because I had never even heard of it till this point. Hit Monkey. So it will be written and executive produced by Josh Gordon and Will Speck, and it is a Japanese snow monkey, bear with me now, that is trained by the ghost of an American assassin to take on the Tokyo underworld. Yeah. Now, if that's not as far out as it can go, that's like on some Howard the Duck level, but even crazier. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we picked some of the craziest stuff we could possibly make adult animated features out of, and we're like, yeah, those are my Marvel picks. Let's go with those. Now, team that up with Tigra and Dazzler, which, I mean, if it's the Dazzler I'm thinking of, she was an X-Man at one point. She's a music star and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. They didn't give any synopsis of Tigra and Dazzler at all. So I'm guessing that's who we're going with, and Tigra. And it's got a curious writer and executive producer in Erica Rivaldo. I hope I got that right because I can't even read my own writing right now. And the one and only Chelsea Handler of Chelsea Lately. I used to love that show. So, I mean, that right there, I can't say it got me excited, but it definitely got me intrigued. At least I know with Chelsea Handler on board, it's probably going to be pretty damn funny. Like, I am all for these, and in pure Marvel fashion, these all go off the way they say. They also mention that they will all come together for their own team-up, because that's what we do. And it will be called, wait for it, The Offenders. Yeah, isn't that great? The Offenders. So you got Howard the Duck, MODOK, Hit Monkey, Tiger, and Dazzler. The Offenders. Now, this is great, y'all. I don't even know what to say. Like I said, I cannot wait to watch these. I hope they are as hilarious as my head keeps going on thinking. This came with an ultra rumor. Take this with a super grain of salt, because it is a rumor that Hulu might also be looking at reviving the dead Netflix shows. So that's one to look out for too. Hulu's all of a sudden gaining a lot of ground. Netflix is in trouble. If Hulu can keep this game up and then Disney Plus comes in on the other side, oh man, you're going to have Disney Plus doing their Marvel thing that's going to be more of the family Marvel universe. Hulu's going to have this adult Marvel universe that is just Netflix who? We're going to be, I have a feeling my Netflix subscription might run out soon, because this has got me locked on Hulu, and we all know I'm going to get Disney Plus, because why wouldn't I? But yeah, awesome Marvel stuff coming to these TV platforms. Like I said, can't wait for this animated thing. It's going to be great. Kevin Smith, Howard the Duck. I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. Now, like I said, those are the only things to really go over. Those only two categories we're going to hit. Don't have nothing happening in Lucasfilm news. That is right. We are still waiting for some sort of teaser for the new Star Wars that is coming in December. Remember when we used to get Star Wars trailers like a year beforehand? We'd get a teaser. This time, we're not even getting a name. But we all know why. They're going to save these for Star Wars Celebration. I'm having a feeling when Star Wars Celebration comes out, it's going to dominate 1 week of this show. Just me going over all the Star Wars stuff that comes out of Star Wars Celebration. So I'm sure we're on the lookout for that. Nothing much really going on with the e-ticket. Nothing new at Disney. I mean, Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope just popped up in a new meet and greet. But, I mean, that's nothing truly that big, because we all knew that was inevitable when they started testing it in the first place. So there we are. Like I say, as usual, write us some emails. Ask us some questions. Tell us anything you want to see in the parks. Tell us anything we missed that you might want us to talk about. Anything you want us to cover. Even online, I'll cover it. I'll figure it out. Like I said, email us. We'd love to talk back and forth with y'all. I love seeing y'all's comments when it comes to this, when it comes to the actual website, and when it comes to Facebook and Twitter. So by all means, go down there in the description. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram so you can see all the really cool pictures of the park. Not to mention, I just did another food review for the Incredible celebration. We got some really good stuff, so check that out on Instagram. We got a Num Num cookie and it's a Secret Identity was the name of the drink. They were really good, but I'll go into them over detail always on those. So check Instagram, check Facebook, and follow us. Not to mention, while you're down there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you can keep up with the show. But if you really, really want to know it right as it happens, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, like I said earlier, and you will get this stuff right the day I see it as it hits my radar. I like to write a little synopsis of what I think about it and throw it down on there. But if all else fails, once again, subscribe, and you'll be able to see it weekly in a nice little speaking fashion. So leave some comments, write into us, tell us what you think, and even more so, I got a quote for you from who else but the great Walt Disney himself. If you can dream it, you can do it.